Did you copy all of his haircuts?
I remember at one point I had the silver Mohican.
So I actually had a hair transplant in Istanbul last summer. The Turks haven't offered you a good deal?
I'm 54 now. I've been bald since I'm 25. Could you imagine me turning up with that hair now? The worst role in football for a goalkeeper is to be the number 2 who thinks they should be the number 1. And
Number 3's basically just got a holiday.
number 3 is one of the best jobs in football. I used to watch the player right when the penalty was called to go see what their reaction was. And you could tell how nervous they were or not. Off the field, Emi is such a calm, nice individual.
Really?
He really is. When he's on the pitch, he does that to get himself going.
You don't think he's a true great?
I think if he goes and wins a World Cup, I think England have a team that can win a World Cup, then he'll be considered as a true England great. Personally, I like Alisson. Saving capabilities, the best in the world. Overall leadership skills, incredible. Communication, I've watched him pitch side before, incredible. Like he for me is the one.
Hello, I'm Matt Forde, and from talkSPORT, this is How to Win the World Cup. Between now and the summer, I'm on a mission to find out what it takes to win the greatest prize on earth. No, not a lifetime supply of kebabs, the World Cup. I'm desperate to see England win it, so each week I'll be speaking to those who've been there and done it at the highest level. Plus, I'll be joined by a load of comedians to help me keep positive. In today's episode, we're talking goalkeepers.
He's in! Oh, saved by Alisson! Incredible stop!
Can he save this one from Baka? Yes, he can! A strong hand to it and beaten it away!
I'll speak to a man who's played in 3 World Cups. It's former USA goalkeeper Brad Fridel. And I'm delighted to be joined by hilarious comedian and podcaster Jacob Hawley.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Jacob, pleasure to see you. I should, at the start, explain that I have a number of retro England shirts.
Yeah.
This one is massive. I mean, it wasn't until I put it on today. I bought this maybe 8 years ago.
What was happening in your life that made you fit that shirt?
I was so fat. Man, I was a big lad a few years ago, but now, that was the 90s, wasn't it, when these were made?
This
so
is it. It was loose fitting. It was loose fitting. It was
size of it.
You know, it was bucket hats. It was bigger shorts. It was a different vibe back then. It was Stone Roses, wavy around.
Does it look stupid?
No, it looks good. It looks good. You pull it off, mate.
Thank you. This is what we would have worn had England qualified for USA 94. I'm not even sure you were alive.
I was alive, but I wasn't thinking about World Cups. I was breastfed at that point in my life.
Okay. So
19.
Happy period in your life. Let's talk about the breastfeeding years from Jacob Hawley. So what's the first World Cup that you remember?
I remember 98. I remember sitting down and watching 98 with my dad. I remember my dad wasn't particularly happy about Michael Owen being as heavily involved as he was. We wanted Ian Wright. You know, we were in Arsenal house.
Oh,
we wanted
my
Ian
God.
Wright. And so Michael Owen very much slapped us in the face and proved us wrong in that tournament.
At the time, I remember people clamouring for Beckham and Hoddle kind of in the same way that people were clamouring for Grealish and Southgate.
Yeah.
And people were desperate to see Michael Owen. But in your house...
Well, Arsenal house, we wanted Ian Wright, but you look back then, and, you know, I know he had injuries now, but you look back then, we were in such a stage of, like, so many talented strikers. You know, Shearer, Fowler, obviously Owen was coming through there, Ian Wright was around, it was, you know, Andy Cole was there. So it's like, now, you know, obviously we've got Harry Kane, Watkins is a good player, but it's mad to think that back then there were so many options at that level.
That's so true. If you go back like a couple of years before, you had like Collymore.
Yeah. It's such a different time. So for Arsenal, Ian Wright, who'd scored so many goals back then.
Incredible.
And he never really got a shot in an England shirt. So we were looking at Michael Owen going, who's this kid from Liverpool? What's going on there? And then, you know, lo and behold, he turned out to be one of the greatest youngsters to ever pull on an England shirt, and certainly the impact he had in that tournament at such a young age.
So when he scores against Argentina, what does your dad say?
Oh, he was silent.
Get him off!
I remember being sat on the sofa watching that game and just turning to Dad, just silent.
He'd have scored 3 by now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, so that's the first tournament I remember. And then by like 2002, you know, I was at an age then where I had my hair dyed like Beckham. I used to have like the bleach hair like Beckham.
Did you copy all of his haircuts?
I remember at one point I had the silver Mohican, slightly later in his career.
Did you get in trouble at school for it?
No, mate, I remember our school, our school loved it. I remember getting in early for that Brazil game. You know the Brazil game that we lost? David Seaman. Yeah, right.
Michael Owen scored.
Right, I remember getting in incredibly early to watch that game, and that they wheel the TV out, and we're all sat there watching, and it was a different time back then. The way that the country enjoyed tournaments, we went mad for it. And look back now, the golden generation of talent we had then, the players we had, and obviously we're in a great place now, England fans. We can't sound spoiled, but the stars that you had back then, the amount of them that were in that tournament, it was amazing. I grew up looking forward to those tournaments because I remember going on holidays and you still have your England shirt on.
Yeah.
And I remember going on holiday to Gran Canaria and it was like the English kids would play against some of the Spanish kids and we'd all wear our England shirts, they'd wear the Spain kit, and it's amazing.
Did you ever win?
What, against the Spanish kids? What do you think?
No. Just trying to get something out of the tournament, man. I was like, at least we did them on the beaches.
Yeah, exactly. Daft kid with a grey Mohican. How many free kicks do you reckon I scored while Spanish kids are doing tiki-taka around me?
I remember the tabloids were always like, kid gets expelled for having mohawk.
No, well, our school were very liberal with it. They loved it. I think so. It felt like something you should get behind. It felt like something you should support. We were allowed to bring England shirts in on the games, on the days we were playing games. It was amazing. So
Crate Stella, 20 Bensons.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Cigarettes, couple of fights in the car park before school, jibbing our way in to watch it on the TV.
Trying to blag your way into the sports day.
That's it, yeah.
You're also an Arsenal fan.
Indeed.
So does that affect the way that you feel about England? Do you carry that, I think, would it be fair to say mental fragility? Does that transplant across to how you feel about England? Or do you feel like they're two completely different things?
Well, I'm buzzing for the set pieces this year. I'm hoping that someone's going to wear a number 6 shirt and behave like Gabriel. I hope that Declan Rice is taking them. But I think as Arsenal fans, when I was growing up, we were France and all. You know what I mean? We were seen as the foreign club with the foreign manager. So, and we didn't have as many players contributing to that England team back in the day. It felt like back in the day it was just Man United players, There was a while where it was Chelsea players, Lampard, Terry. Now, obviously Saka is such a huge part of what England do. Declan Rice probably will be the captain after Harry Kane. It's lovely watching England have so many Arsenal players in the team. Noni Madueke is another one who I think is going to hopefully have a big tournament for England. He's got to get on the pitch for Arsenal first to be massively involved for England. But still, it's really nice knowing that as Arsenal at the top of the Premier League with all these great players, we are such a big part. I remember in years gone past, you'd see Sven in the stands at Old Trafford. And I remember thinking, there's probably no point in him coming to the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? Who's he going to watch? Kieran Gibbs? Is he going to get in the team?
No, but the hospitality's nice.
It's at club level.
It's in London.
Yeah, Starmer's there.
Get him easily afterwards.
It's busy. But yeah, so I think going into a tournament now with the amount of Arsenal players involved, and I think Saka specifically, I think he's one of England's biggest weapons.
Well, we're talking about goalkeepers today, and obviously Seaman, when you were growing up, he's in goal for Arsenal and he's in goal for England.
I remember that moment, watching it on the big TV at school. Seaman gets lobbed from 40 yards, Ronaldinho free kick. I was known as an Arsenal fan. There weren't that many at my school, despite the fact we were quite close to North London. And it was a lot of Spurs fans. I just remember everyone just turning and looking at me. As soon as Seaman...
You're there with a stick-on Seaman sash, ponytail haircut.
Yeah, fake ponytail that my mum's done for me. Yeah, it was weird growing up watching England because we weren't as represented. Like I say, to the point where we weren't even enthusiastic about a Michael Owen because we wanted Ian Wright in there, And you think about great Arsenal players, Tony Adams never had a massive England career. Do you know, he wasn't seen as a massive part of that team, even though he was in and around it so much. So
I think Euro 96, he probably cements his image in people's minds. He's the captain of that and all the rest of it. So apart from Seaman then, who were the great England goalkeepers that you remember?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because England have had keepers throughout the years who you go, it's great for his club. Is he always as good for England? And I think now, Pickford, who's worn that jersey for a good few tournaments now, and I always think about that shootout with Colombia.
Oh, man.
2018.
Yeah.
That I think for me, and him turning fist pumping towards the fans, it's he sort of looks like for me, and I look for this in Arsenal players as well. If I was at if I could be good enough to play for England, that's how I'd behave.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He looks like a fan wearing the jersey.
Yeah.
And so Pickford, for me, I think he's iconic
Yes,
as an England keeper
I do,
now.
yeah.
And when I think about that dressing room, I hope he's one of the loudest voices in there. We know that Harry Kane's the captain, but I hope that Pickford's voice is heard in there as a player who's got experience. And he seems like he leads our defence.
I love him. And I think in any penalty shootout, you back him to save a couple of penalties.
100%.
I mean, even against Italy at Wembley, he saves 1 or 2. You think he did pretty much everything he could
100%.
to try and win us that trophy.
And I think as a shot stopper, he's really underrated
He's
as well.
phenomenal. And also, he's mental.
Yeah, that's it.
You have to be mental.
And I do think the best keepers have got that. I think the best keepers, they're nutters.
I think they also are detrimental to other people's mental health.
Yeah.
I think that's a price worth paying.
I love Jens Lehmann as part of our Invincibles team, and I've watched stuff looking back over the years. He used to steal players' boots and hide them behind the stands. He was crackers.
You've got to do that.
You've got to do that, and I think even at Arsenal now, and I've still got a place in my heart for Aaron Ramsdale, right? He's at Newcastle now, but he had that madness at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably part of the reason we sold him, to be honest. We just went for David Raya, who might not be mental, but is good. But, Ramsdale's got that sort of lunatic gene that I don't know, if you're a centre-back, I think you kind of want to see that behind you.
Oh, man. Because when... You need to put the fear of God into any player coming into that box.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that the goalkeeper can use their hands, it's such a simple thing, but you've got to put doubt in people's minds.
Well,
you've got to make them think they're going to get clattered.
You look at Emi Martinez for Argentina.
Oh my God.
And I think as a fan whose team play against Villa, twice a season, I don't look forward to games against Emi. Because Emi is, if he's not on your team, you can't stand him.
No, I can't.
The stuff he does at penalties, the wind-ups he does to other players. But if he's on your team, he's huge, 6'6", right? He fills that net.
Yeah.
The level of character he has. And I think it's just that pure thing of, he looks daft when he's not your player.
Yeah.
But for the 6 months that he was an Arsenal player and took us to an FA Cup win, oh, man, I loved having him in our net. So I'm glad that we've got a player in Pickford who's got that level of mental. Going into a World Cup, he's got that edge, which you've got to remember, it's not that many games to get to a World Cup final. All it takes is 2 games where they just go supernova and win you. And we've all had games where you play against a keeper and it's like, he's not going to let a ball in. It does not matter what we throw at him, he's going to keep it out. I think Pickford's got 2 games at least in that imminent at a tournament to stop another team from scoring a goal.
I totally agree. Well, let's talk to a man who has been there and done it. He's our special guest. It's former USA goalkeeper Brad Fridel.
My dream is always to play for England, and I feel like I've been consistent over the last 6 years with the England shirt, and I keep looking forward and don't look back, and I just want to keep progressing and keep the shirt on my back, and whatever that number becomes. But it's great to be in that bracket of top legendary goalkeepers.
For me, in my lifetime, he's been England's best ever goalkeeper.
Pickford's a very good goalkeeper who's done brilliantly for England, so you can't... he deserves his place, and he's done lots of good things for England. He's got a good record. He's not a top-tier goalkeeper.
He's in!
Oh,
saved by Alisson! Incredible stop!
What a save that is with his right bicep from Alisson.
He's the best goalkeeper to ever play for Liverpool. He's the best that's been in the Premier League era.
One of the biggest things for goalkeepers is emotional control, how do you cope with things, and that pressure on you to not make a mistake and to be there for your team whenever called upon.
OK, it's time to talk goalkeepers with a man who played at 3 World Cups. It's Brad Fridel.
Hey, Matt, Jacob, how are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm really enjoying you guys talking about goalkeepers.
Are we right? Do you have to be mental?
Mental. You have to want to have physical part. You want to get hit by things and things of that nature. So it's probably a little bit. However, you can't be stupid. You have to make too many decisions too quick to not have something in your brain not to be able to compute it. But take Emi Martinez. You were just talking about him. I heard Jacob. Off the field, Emi is such a calm, nice individual.
Really?
He really is. He's a lovely, lovely fella. Very, very humble, very unassuming. He's when he's on the pitch, he does that to get himself going. He's kind of like the Robbie Savage of goalkeeper. If you meet Robbie off the field, he's different than what he was like on the field. Does he have a screw loose? I mean, you could say yes, no, whatever. But I mean, he's a really good goalkeeper. But he does that to get himself going. I mean, I'd have to say like David Seaman is a very nice guy, very very subdued, very very humble as well. I played with David James. He was a bit more erratic, funny guy. But you're talking. Like he's one I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of, to be honest with you. He's a man mountain and strong as can be. But I think we're a little bit eccentric, but you have to have something in your brain that can make decisions so quickly, because our mistakes lead to goals. Yeah, you can strikers' mistakes, midfielders' mistakes. They generally don't lead to goals against, and a striker might get 3, 4, 5, 6 chances to scores one. He's a hero. Goalkeeper, if you have 5 shots against you, you concede 1 and it's a bad goal. It's bright lights and you could lose. So you're in a little bit more of a pressure situation, and you're a little bit set aside from the rest of the group.
Watching you for years in Premier League, Brad, you felt more like a calming presence between the sticks. You felt less nuts than some of the other keepers.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not nuts. Well, maybe. I mean, you could ask some people. Who knows? No, but I think over my career, it was more consistency. And it was a calming force. I mean, I lost my head from time to time. Don't get me wrong. You can't go through a Premier League career for so many years and not lose your head from time to time. But I think the crazy comes back in the days of watching like your Bruce Grobbelaars and people like that, and people automatically thought that all goalkeepers were mental. I mean, look at Schumacher. He may have been a little bit with some of his incidences on the pitch, but by and large, goalkeepers are quite smart, being able to make decisions very, very quickly on the field. I'm not talking about off the field smarts. I'm just talking about on the field, being able to deal with situations that I think some outfield players wouldn't be able to do so quickly.
So, Brad, obviously America's hosting the tournament this summer. We're going to do an episode on that. But are you based in America now?
No. I live in the Bahamas and I live in Istanbul. I split time between the two.
And what made you pick those 2 destinations?
Family, life, work. I was the sporting director last year at Beşiktaş. My eldest daughter goes to university in Istanbul. And I do a lot of analytics and football work out in Istanbul and the rest of Europe, and it's easier to travel from there. And my fiance is from the Bahamas, and it's easy to travel in and out, and lots of kids, a couple kids in university, and just a lovely place to be.
Well, I understand living in the Bahamas, it's paradise. I mean, are you just an all-inclusive?
No, we're in our house. Just an all-inclusive, all life. That's it.
In terms of Istanbul, Brad, I'll be very honest with you, and it's a personal question if you don't wish to answer. I actually had a hair transplant in Istanbul last summer. Have you found Turks?
I'm not getting one.
The Turks haven't offered you a good deal as your local?
Listen, I've been bald. I'm 54 now. I've been bald since I'm 25. Could you imagine me turning up with a head of hair now? One of your David Beckham. One of your Beckham mohawks, rocking up.
What about the teeth?
I don't do any of that stuff.
No cosmetic surgery. We're not saying that you need it, by the way.
I was going to say, the teeth look good already. The teeth look good already.
Of course you're not.
You're a good-looking man. We want to put that on the record.
No. Listen, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born in the 70s. The cosmetic surgery, that you can't do it. You can take the kid out of Cleveland, so to speak.
So let's return to goalkeepers then. You played in 3 World Cups for America.
Yeah.
Does that, I mean, we talked about the goalkeeper position being more psychologically complex perhaps and pressured than other positions on the pitch. Going into a World Cup, how do you manage that extra pressure of playing in those games?
So all 3 different World Cups were different for me. The first one, I was young, so I hoped I would have played, but I didn't expect to play. I was the number 2. Tony Meola was the number 1. That was I played in the Olympics in '92, but this was the first senior tournament that I was involved in. So you're a little bit more of a nicer number 2 and more complacent and things of that nature. 98, which is probably the worst role in football for a goalkeeper, is to be the number 2 who thinks they should be the number 1. And I still today think I played one of the games, but I would have liked to have played all 3. And it's a really tough position to be in, because you're all the starter. If you're making your national team, you're a starter for your club team generally. So you're used to being the number 1. Then you have to go in as a number 2. You can't put yourself before the team. So you have to be a team player, but you're so desperate to play and you want to try to help, but you have all these mixed feelings inside about wanting to play. We as a team in 98 didn't perform well. So it was very difficult to be positive, have a lot of positive influences around the place. And then 2002 was completely different. I was the number 1. I played all the games. We had the best run that we ever had. We made it to the quarterfinals. Just have to slide in. I think we lasted a couple of days longer than England did in that tournament. So yeah, look at Jacob, look at away. So we'll have to say that. And in that tournament, we had 3 goalkeepers that were all very, very good. As myself, Casey Keller was the number 2, and Tony Meola was the number 3. I think Tony, by that time of his career, he was probably complacent being on the roster and being the number 3. And I'm sure Casey, we had roles reversed, because Casey would have been upset that he wasn't playing, just like 98. But all 3 of us throughout our careers, we were really competitive with one another, good relationships, but really competitive. But that, I got to tell you, in goalkeeping, for me, the number 2 job is the worst job in all of football.
But you must be tempted to sabotage the number 1 and just the night before game say, you know what, I'd have a Big Mac.
If you're an outfield player, you have a chance of getting on, injury, suspension, sending off, this, that, and the other. You're a goalkeeper, very slim chance that you're going on, unless it's an injury or a sending off, which doesn't happen that often, let's face it, to a goalkeeper. And when I went into management, sporting directors, things like that, I always worried about the complacent number 2. I felt they didn't have any drive or desire. And I was like, well, why are you here? You're just picking up a paycheck. Don't you want to play? Because I hated it. I hated being a number 2. The worst position in football.
So if number 2's bad, Brad, what about being number 3? Does it almost go the other way, that you're just happy to be there?
Well, the number 3s are different. So I'll fast forward to my career, because I became a number 3 at Tottenham, but I was 43 and 44 years of age. And I had signed on knowing I was going to be the number 3, but I was doing my coaching badges and working at the academy. So it's completely different. So like I said, Tony Meola in 2002, I think he was really happy being the number 3 in that tournament, because he probably didn't really think he was going to be involved in the squad at all. The other thing with number 3s, you can have either that old experienced guy, depending on the ages of your 1 and 2, or you can have a really young player, and that's the first tournament. So similar to myself in 94, it's the first tournament, so I wasn't going to be upset. I was delighted I was in the squad. I did want to compete for my place, but you're in a completely different mindset. It's when you're in the peak of your career and you're starting for your club team and you go in with the national team and you're a number 2. It can be a long old 4 to 5 weeks of not playing and just training. And you're training the day after the game. You're training on the field after all the other players play. And you have to, when you're the coaches, when you're picking your squad, you have to take that into account and bring the right mentality of the other goalkeepers into the squad. Because if you have the wrong one as a number 2 that only thinks he should be playing, that can be a big negative influence over a 4 to 5 week period.
So number 3's basically just got a holiday.
Number 3 is one of the best jobs in football.
No pressure.
Because you're young, getting the experience, or you're older, you're past it, and you're there because you are experienced. It's a fantastic job. Yeah. 2's horrible.
And then I guess the odds of you coming on are quite slim. And if you're getting down to your 3rd choice goalie, the fans are going to be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. There's really no pressure for a number 3 goalkeeper. No. The number 2, you go into the warm-ups, and there's not a lot you can do, especially if you get a little older. So you don't want to warm up and then sit on a bench, and then if you have to go on after 15 minutes, all the eyes are on you. And now, if you haven't been in a good frame of mind, just been angry because you haven't played, and all of a sudden you're playing against Brazil in a World Cup after 15 minutes, like, you got to be mentally prepared for that stuff. Number two is not an easy role to take up.
Let's think about penalties then, because obviously in major tournaments, when it comes to knockout games, the pressure, it seems, is predominantly on the player taking the penalty. Goalies now have all sorts of strategies, including the water bottle with which way players are likely to go. Did you ever have anything like that?
Well, as the years went by and analytics came more and more into it, there was a lot more prep. You could study where players hit their penalties. To take Van Nistelrooy, for instance, I mean, he mainly, throughout his whole career, he would just take the ball, put it on the spot, and smash it low to the goalkeeper's right. I think out of 5 penalties he took on me in the Prem, he did 1 because I left so early to the right. He went to the opposite side. So that you get to know, and the longer you play in the league and you face players, like Frank Lampard had when he went one way, his arm would go out further than the other way, and you could detect things like this. Not saying, I mean, he hit the ball so hard, it's not that, oh, you're going to save everyone or any of Frank Lampard's penalties, and just saying you would get a hint of which side he was going. But I would say the older you get, the easier it is to read. But then when you get really old, your power goes, so it's harder to get there, right? So you get into those sits. Well, I went the right way.
I guess the right way.
Ball's still in the back of the net. But the pressure, what I was used to do, I used to watch the player right when the penalty was called to go see what their reaction was. And you could tell how nervous they were or not. If you Shearer gets the ball, he's not nervous. Fowler got the ball, he's not nervous. Drogba got the ball, he's not nervous. You could just tell. Van Nistelrooy, all those guys. But there were a lot of players that you could tell that if they get the ball, and then you could actually like fake you were going one way, go back to the center, and then they'll probably go the other way because they're so nervous. They're all their creativity evaporated. But I just took it as no pressure on goalkeepers whatsoever. But there's a lot of little tricks you can try. But let's face it, all the percentages are that they're going to go in. If you hit it halfway up the net with pace, it's probably going to go in. They're very difficult to save. But I think a lot of players get nervous, and that's where the mistakes come in.
What do you make of the thing now where one player will make it look like they're going to take it, and then they hand it over to their teammate to take? What does that do to a goalie's mind? Nothing.
I don't like. The more that's nothing. The more that I'll just use Van Nistelrooy again. He just got the ball, just stood there for a second, looked like he didn't care at all, put the ball down, not look at you at all, go back, wait for the whistle, bam, goal. I mean, that's a lot harder to deal with than someone who has a run up that zigzag, soft, shuffles the feet, because by the end of it, they have to swivel their hips and their planting foot to where they're going to strike the ball. If someone just runs up and smashes the thing, I mean, it's not that far of a way. It's really difficult for a goalkeeper to save. Like all the other stuff is it made it easier for us to save. Every now and again you'd run into very skillful player. So I played for a brief time in my career with George Hadji, something like him. He could disguise power, creativity, Panenka, all of it. So he was very difficult to save a penalty.
So it's almost like the more a player does before taking the penalty, it's just a sign of poor confidence, right? They're distracting themselves from the fact they don't feel confident about putting the ball in the corner.
I think so, yeah. And the other thing, I think when you're talking about when another player grabs a ball, I'm not sure about grabbing the ball, but I believe another player standing by the spot started because players in the opposition team were trying to dig like a little hole next to the spot so the player would slip and things like that. I think that's where that started. I could be wrong. But yeah, the more movement, the more actions, the longer it takes. I used to love when players were arguing over a penalty. Some of the VAR decisions right now, because a player has to stand there for 2, 3, 4 minutes sometimes before they take a penalty. All the pressure in that situation goes right onto the player, not the goalkeeper.
Obviously, this World Cup's going to take place in America. Do you think we're going to see more goalkeepers wearing baseball caps?
Let me tell you something about a baseball cap. when you wear it and play it. The sun is obviously in the sky, right? And the baseball cap will help you like not get sunburned. But when the ball goes up in the air, you have to lift your head up. So the baseball cap doesn't do a lot when the ball's in the air. Might help a little bit from the glare, but I always found that baseball caps were an annoyance more than a help. I tried it a couple times when the sun was just really bad at Anfield. If the way that the stadium's positioned, the sun comes down and it goes right on top of the stand, and there's really nothing you can do. Baseball caps don't help. You can put your glove up. You can try to see, they say when the ball goes in the sun, just look for the black dot. And I'm like, all I see is a blurry flash of sun, and I can't see the ball at all. But I don't think the hats are a help, and I hope we don't see a lot of them.
So what's the best thing to do? Just squint?
Yeah, I mean, really, and if you just put your hand there, it does the same as the hat. But when you lift your head up and the hat is irrelevant, and then you have a hat on, you're not used to playing in a hat. That's how I viewed it. But
couldn't you get sort of special goalie shades made?
Goggles. Edgar Davids goggles.
Yeah. No, you get that like the baseball player, the black lines underneath. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think there's a lot you can do. One of the downsides of having a tournament in the U.S. is the weather. On the East Coast and along anywhere on the South, West Coast is fine. The weather's no issue whatsoever. The humidity, the thunderstorms, the wind, the rain, the torrential downpours. Like if you're in Florida, and then the heat that comes after, it's tough. So the winner of the World Cup will go through some conditions and will deserve it. That's for sure. And there will also be some upsets because of the weather.
Obviously, in goal, for large parts of the play, you can be not involved. So how do you keep your concentration through large parts of the game and sort of anticipate when it's going to come your way?
Every goalkeeper is different. I used to move around a lot. I used to communicate a lot with my defenders. I think that separates a lot of the top goalkeepers from the others, especially if you play in a good team and the ball's not in front of you all the time. If you play in a team where you're consistently having to take crosses and cleat up through balls and take shots, it's actually easier to play in those games than the games where you have something to do once every 20 minutes. So if you played in one of the great Arsenal teams or one of the great Man United teams, and you were just called upon in the 88th minute to make a great save, those are much more difficult games to play in mentally than a game where you would have 20 attempts at your goal. That's how I view it. That's a difficult thing, really hard for young goalkeepers to learn. Really impressive when I see young goalkeepers, say between the ages of 18 and 22, get a lot of first-team professional games at high level, because saving the shots, okay, that impresses me. But what impresses me more is how the goalkeepers deal with the mistake and how they deal with the concentration levels needed to play 40, 50 games in a season at high level.
But there must have been times during games where you just think, I might watch Slow Horses later and I'll tell you what, I'll cook a curry.
Wish I could put a podcast on.
Well, what a fantastic show, Slow Horses, by the way.
The guy guessed it right.
Is goalkeeping changing a bit, Brad? I mean, we see it in the Premier League now that keepers are using their feet so much more often. And I don't know if that's happened on the international stage in international football quite so much. Do you think we're going to see a lot of that at this World Cup?
I think it started on the international stage, actually.
Oh,
I think the first time you really saw a change was in 2002 World Cup. The types of distribution, especially the side volley, the goalkeepers putting it on the ground and playing out of the back, the emphasis on playing out of the back. And then, shortly after, the incredible Barcelona team came about, and they were passing it all over the place. And then Pep went, I think, to Bayern Munich after, and they were a total pass team. I think there has been more of an emphasis on passing out of the back and from the goalkeeper. I think if you look, your goalkeeper right now is very good with his feet, Raya. But there's a lot of goalkeepers, sort of my time, so not so much like the David Seaman, Schmeichel time, but more like Peter Cech, myself, Van der Sar era, when we could have all played with our feet also, if that's how we were coached to do it. There wouldn't have been an issue. And Edwin was very, very good with his feet. He came from the Dutch system, of course. But now a lot of coaches are using the goalkeeper as an extra outfield player. In some systems it really works, like Pep Guardiola's, and other systems not so much. It's a little bit of the personnel, and I think if they looked at their season, they would see they probably concede more against them than score on build outs from the keeper. But that's a different topic. But I think football is cyclical, and it goes. It used to be where you played with a two and a sweeper. Then I went to a flat back three. Then I went to a back four. Now you see back threes again. You see wing backs, and it goes 4-4-2. Like it all starts and then comes back again at some stage. I think there was a huge influence on goalkeepers playing with their feet probably 5-6 years ago. I think it's gone away a little bit now, but still some clubs emphasize it. But you also see some clubs being a little bit more pragmatic and taking a longer, more direct approach. So I think it just swings and roundabouts. Depends on the players you have. I go back to that Barcelona team. If you have a Xavi and Iniesta that you can play the ball into in the midfield no matter what, and they have no problem coming back even into the 18-yard box to take a ball and help you build out of the back. That sure does help. It's like similar playing with Luka Modric. You could give him the ball anywhere and he wouldn't lose it.
So what do you make of our keeper then, Brad? What do you make of Jordan Pickford? Do you think he has the talent, the capability, the mindset to be an icon at this World Cup?
He does. He's a good goalkeeper, really solid goalkeeper. I think he is a goalkeeper who loves England. I think he really wants to play both club and country. He doesn't get a lot of notoriety playing for England, but I think that's just because of the type of person he is. He just puts the gloves on, goes out and tries to do the job. You can see when he has a good result, he can have some emotion to it, but I don't think he's glitz and glamour, but a really solid goalkeeper. And to win a World Cup, your goalkeeper once, twice, three times, through matches are going to have to stand on their head and do so, and play out of their skin. You're going to play against some incredible teams, incredible players. You're going to have some good referees, bad referees, penalty saves. You're going to need a goalkeeper. Not one team can win a World Cup with a bad goalkeeper.
And it feels a bit, though, that your compliments are slightly qualified. You don't think he's a true great?
Ooh, Jordan?
Yeah.
I mean, I think if he goes and wins a World Cup, I think England have a team that can win a World Cup, then he'll be considered as a true England great. I think he is a Premier League great for sure, but then being an international great is something different. With the quality that England has in their side and the quality that England has had in many sides over the past years, they need to go and win. If he does, then he'll for sure be considered an England great.
And who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment?
Personally, I like Alisson. I still do. I know Liverpool's season is a little bit up and down right now, but I don't think he has a weakness. I really don't. He's not Ederson with his feet, but he's very, very good with his feet. And then you look at everything, crossing, good. One-on-ones, saving capabilities, the best in the world. Other shot stopping, one of the best in the world. His overall leadership skills, incredible. Communication, I've watched him pitch side before, incredible. Like he for me is the one. And I think if Liverpool were to lose him, that's tough to replace a guy like that quickly.
Alisson feels more like your brand of calm, someone in there who brings a level of calm, whereas Pickford's got that, for me anyway, a little bit of that mad gene. And I wonder if in knockout games, Brad, that mad gene, does that lend to someone who can pull off like a massive save or do something in a penalty shootout that can actually win a game for a team?
It can, and then you can also look, if you have that mad gene, you can do something mad that you don't want a goalkeeper to do. Alisson is just that. He is similar. Our demeanors on the field were quite similar, just really composed. You don't see him losing his head too much. Jordan, from time to time, does need to play with the emotion, but he controls it pretty well also. I think I think what's important for England goalkeepers, with the way the recent history anyway, of tournaments have gone, and with the way that the English press can be towards their team, is if in the group stage he makes a mistake, I think the rest of the tournament could be a little difficult for him. I think if he in one of the group plays 2 really solid games and one of the games really good, then you could have a great goalkeeper on your hands for the rest of the tournament. I think the pressure plays a part of that with the England team.
Brad, this has been an absolute treat. Always a joy to talk to you. We'll speak again soon.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you so much. Amazing talking to Brad Fridel. The biggest revelation was you got your hair done in Turkey. Did you really?
I did.
I would never know.
The thing is, and this is crucial, I got offered it as a SponCon opportunity if I promote it on my podcast. And the key thing is, I wasn't really that bald. Right? I was going in the corners ever so slightly. And I remember when I went out there, they had a little look and they went, "You are the ideal candidate for a hair transplant." I said, "I know, because I'm not bald." So it's quite a quick and easy procedure.
So can we have a look?
Yeah, sure.
You look amazing. You would never know.
You can it's just been filled in at the corners a little bit there. Last summer. I mean,
it looks fantastic.
Thank you, mate.
I mean, I've always had quite a high forehead.
Yeah.
Do you think I should get it done?
I don't regret it. I mean, I don't think Brad would regret it either. If Brad Friedel got the full job and had the ponytail like David Seaman, he might become too expensive for this show.
With his jawline, plus hair, I mean, he's a good-looking fella anyway. He went bald early, is the thing.
Yeah.
And transplants weren't, I think, on the back of the Daily Mail, Graham Gooch used to advertise them back in those days, but like now, everyone's getting them done. I can't believe it just looks so natural.
Thank you very much.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. There's a reason that they pay you to do the spot for it.
But it's like what? It takes a couple of months and then it's all.
That's it, mate. You look mad for a few weeks. Your face swells up you look like the Elephant Man for a few days. And I stupidly had gigs the whole week, so I was going out doing stand-up comedy, looking like the Elephant Man.
You've been stung by a bee.
That's it. And then it settled down a bit, and then now it's sweet. It's all good.
What are you getting done next?
You laugh. I might get bigger hands so I could try and become a goalkeeper like Brad Fridel. When he said that about having long arms, I thought, you know what? I actually do remember him having that. I do remember looking at him in the Premier League and going, Christ, he can reach the stands.
But also the problem is when you watch them from the stands, they all look sort of roughly the same size. You can see that some players are taller than others.
Yeah.
When you're actually next to them, they are insane.
Yeah.
I walked past Nikola Milenkovic once after a Forest match, and it's just, they're like a different species.
I met William Saliba, and you just keep looking up. They're like mountains.
You can't believe how big they are.
Yeah.
You're like, why did I ever dream I could play football? I'm not even part of the same race as these people. They're like a different...
Aliens, physical freaks.
That's partly what it is they are. Do you have to be an alien to win the World Cup? Jacob, this has been an absolute treat. I had Alex Brooker on the other week, also an Arsenal fan, and he said he would take Arsenal winning the Premier League over England winning the World Cup. What would you rather?
It's so hard because as an England fan, I'm a pub fan, right? I'm a pub garden fan.
You're an alcoholic.
I'm an alcoholic.
Who likes the telly on?
I've got a problem, but no, it is Arsenal. Sorry. I was going to say, I was lucky enough. When the Euros were in London, I went to watch England versus Germany, and
that was amazing.
That just felt like a biblical experience. Yeah. And you know, there was the jibbing, and there was a bit of madness on the streets, but it felt like, oh my God, the country's alive.
Yes.
And if this happens, this isn't just something that I celebrate on the Holloway Road. This is something the country's going to explode.
Can you imagine Trafalgar Square?
Yeah.
Spitfires, Red Arrows.
Oh, you're tempting me.
Oasis.
Me.
It will be the biggest party the planet has ever seen.
I'm going to say
bigger
England.
than putting a man on the...
I'm going to say England. I'm going to say England.
I knew it was in there, Jacob.
If I'm in this studio doing Inside Gooners in a few weeks' time, I'm going to flip it the other way. It's Arsenal every single time.
you got pander to whichever mob are watching. Thank you so much, Jacob. And huge thanks to Brad Fridel as well for joining me today. Remember, if you are new to the podcast, make sure you go out and check all the previous episodes. Also, do get in touch with your burning questions, either through our Instagram page @Let's Win the World Cup, or drop us an email. It's wintheworldcup@talksport.co.uk. We would love to hear from you. Until then, see you next time.